Hundreds of TIMA members and volunteers provide medical services in the local community. Doctors suggest playing ping pong in an early age to relax eye muscles and prevent myopia. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Maggie Tsai. Thank you for joining us. Since the strong earthquake hit Mexico in 2017, Tzu Chi has built a strong bond with local communities. On this day, Tzu Chi held a free clinic day at Zacatepec City. Hundreds of TIMA members, volunteers, local doctors, and translate volunteers joined the venue, serving 450 residents in different departments.
Volunteers turned the local municipal activity center into a mobile hospital station. All departments were arranged right beside the windows due to the lack of lights. Through sunlight and surgical headlights, volunteers solved the problem wisely.
I
have been treating patients for more than 16 years, and I'm very happy to join Chi Chi's free clinic. I saw Chi Chi's contribution in Mexico throughout the past 2 years after the earthquake, and I'm very willing to join the efforts because this team is awesome.
However, it was also because of the strong earthquake in Mexico 2 years ago they met this group of translate volunteers.
We have been working with Tzu Chi for the past 2 years, helping translating from English to Spanish for the local people. They are my students.
I love to help people a lot, and it's from local people, so it's amazing.
This is the 8th time I'm in Mexico.
Thank you, Chi Chi, for everything you did. Of course, we also want to thank the founder, Dharma Master Zhen Yan, so we have this amount of volunteers coming today.
A local barber also volunteered in the venue, providing free haircuts. Giving into a bamboo comb banks, people who received help also reciprocate the love.
Jordanian Tzu Chi volunteers have been caring for Bedouin nomads since 2002. In Jordan Valley, there are 3 areas with a total of 600 Bedouin families. Even Jordanians are reluctant to go there. But Tzu Chi volunteers go there to care for the villagers every month to distribute food products such as rice, sugar, beans, oil, etc. They also hosted winter aid distributions there.
Passing this landmark means that the road surface will be 0 meters below sea level, and the distribution site we are going is located at Jordan Valley, which is 30-minute drive after this landmark. The sun is shining brightly along the way. Probably only once a month, there will be a hint of warmth here. And at the distribution site, there is a man who doesn't talk much and walks silently with a smiling face. It is hard to imagine that he has been through such an experience. You may want to ask why the refugee is willing to do these things.
My idea is that everyone is the same. This thinking makes me feel at ease every night. Whoever he is, whether he is old, weak, male, or female, I hope all of them are happy. I thought so before I joined Tzu Chi, yet I've learned more after joining it.
What he said is like the Dharma teachings that everyone is equal. There are 3 areas in Jordan Valley with different conditions of people. Some villages are mostly widows while some children are naughty. Volunteers are busy arranging the distribution aids. Of course, there are volunteers doing this. The common thing is all of them are the people in need.
The Jordanian government also provides subsidies to impoverished households, but as the economy is not good in recent years, the government can't afford it anymore. They cannot find resources. So these 3 areas in Jordan Valley are our main focus.
The distribution aids given should be more practical. The winter aid distribution this year is different. Everyone comes here with his own supply vouchers.
Every aid item are not easy to get. So when a care recipient arrived, we would check their names one by one and ask them to acknowledge the receipt by stamping their fingerprint.
Volunteers started carrying the villages of these areas since 2002, and they have adjusted it according to their conditions.
I have heard the bamboo bank story from Dharma Master Zheng Yin. I wanted to help those who need more assistance, so I donate all these money to you.
Once the seed of helping others is planted, it is not too late to give back.
During Dharma Master Zheng Yin's tour of the island to preside over the year-end ceremonies, she had a meeting at the Xindian Jingsi Hall with over 100 Dharma masters who had previously performed the sign language at the ceremonies. Several senior recycling volunteers also shared their feelings how doing recycling has enriched their minds.
Over 70 Dharma masters and 1,000 recycling volunteers cooperate harmoniously to perform a sign language on stage to spread Buddha's Dharma.
This is a different way and method to connect with the public. I feel performing a sign language this time is an alternative way to promote the Dharma.
Every time I come, I always expect myself, no matter what I can do, I want to live every day to be real and ordinary, just like these Bodhisattvas.
There's a photo of Master Zheng Yin on the dashboard. This is Tzu Chi's first recycling truck, and with it, the volunteers inspire the community to do recycling.
In the early days, when we went to collect recyclables, I felt as if people were giving us handouts. They would give us things they didn't like, whether the things were unusable or not. But after we had a truck, we began to receive tea or drinks. So we're very grateful to the Master for setting up Tzu Chi, which allows us to purify our minds through volunteering and gain happiness.
A gas explosion happened in Banqiao, New Taipei City, on the third day of the Lunar New Year in 1995 and damaged over 100 houses. Local Tzu Chi volunteers went to distribute aid and clean up the streets.
Cleaning up streets can mobilize many people, so from this event, I began to invite the public to clean up the street in the community.
These elderly recycling volunteers protect the land with their hands and also vow that they will follow the Master closely on their path to do Tzu Chi missions.
Do you know that playing ping pong can prevent myopia? The eye doctors say that the movement of the ping pong ball creates different distance to focus for the eye, hence it can relax eye muscles and relieve symptoms of myopia. Let's meet some of the examples. Xie Zhongmo is a 12th grader in Zhongbing Senior High School who's also on the ping pong school team. He stared at the ball and focused on the game with his playmate. He has been playing ping pong since 3rd grade, as was initially forced to do so by his mother.
I got myopia since 3rd grade, so my mom thought that playing ping pong can relieve the symptoms. Even though I didn't get rid of it, the myopia has become milder.
Can playing ping pong really prevent myopia? Let's hear what the eye doctor says.
Through playing ping pong, we can adjust the ciliary muscle by looking at the different distance of the ball. The muscles around the eyeball can exercise and relax.
Myopia is formed because the ciliary muscle is contracted for a long period of time. By playing ping pong, one can allow the eyeballs to exercise and relax tense muscles.
The ball continues to move, and it's a good exercise for the eyes. Many children here who have myopia have relieved their symptoms.
They have good adjusting ability. Some children can certainly increase their myopia when their cellular muscles were tense. However, when they relax these muscles, they can go back to normal.
60-something Mr. Wen has been playing ping pong for 50 years, and he has maintained good vision.
You need to stare at the ball, otherwise you won't play well.
Adults who have presbyopia often get muscle pains when they look at the items at a close distance for too long.
The movement of a ping pong ball can help the eyes adjust its focus at different distances. Therefore, it can relax the eye muscles and relieve symptoms of myopia and presbyopia. A heavy rain led to a flood in Penang, Malaysia. 55 volunteers came to help conducting financial aid distribution to the affected residents. One such family has 7 members, including elders with mobility issues. The flood entered their home twice within the week. Due to this inconvenience, the village had asked Tzu Chi volunteers to help clean their house.
The plastic flooring in the 2 rooms needs to be removed and cleaned after the flood. Affected residents asked Tzu Chi volunteers for support.
The first flood reached this level, but the second flood reached even higher.
Due to the heavy mud and dirt inside the house, it took volunteers lots of effort to clean and return the house back to its original appearance.
First, we cleaned their mother's room, since there is a big storeroom and many plastic flooring covered with mud.
My body is tired, but not tired mentally. Although my body is dirty after cleaning the house, I just have to wash when I get back home.
They found where the bad smell came from when they were organizing clothes and stuff in their drawer.
So there was a lot of water when you pulled out the drawer. It was full of water. How about the other drawer? Didn't you realize your drawer was filled with water?
I just came home yesterday, and I haven't checked it, so I haven't started to clean up yet.
We just finished cleaning. It looks better. After doing the right thing, we'll definitely feel more Dharma joy.
Volunteers found 500 ringgits under their bed. Narain said they could use the money to pay her mother's dialysis treatment. After drying the floor, they placed the furniture back in place. Narain confirmed the news they acquired earlier from village head with Tzu Chi volunteers about the upcoming distribution venue. On the next day, the village head and Tzu Chi volunteers visited Narain's father Sadek and mother Hasuma.
Thank you, village head. Thanks for everyone who came and helped us.
We don't need to separate each other based on ethnicity, no matter Chinese, Malaysian, or Indian. If they are impoverished, we should provide help. If Chinese people were affected by disasters, Malaysians will come help, and vice versa. This is very important.
The Sadek couple felt grateful receiving the financial aid. They also asked for a coin bank, learning to save money to help others just like Tzu Chi.
We will accumulate these coins and use this money to help others one day.
Mr. Tan of Lotus Town in Changsha, China, was from a poor family. They were reported to Tzu Chi in 2016. However, Mr. Tan refused to accept Tzu Chi's assistance at first. Volunteers did not quit and continued to visit him monthly. Their selfless giving had finally touched Mr. Tan that he began to trust Tzu Chi volunteers and also began to quit smoking after listening to the volunteers' advice.
Mr. Tan was hospitalized for 10 days at the Lotus Hospital because of a chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, and when he leaves the hospital on this day, Tzu Chi volunteers go to bring him home.
你在耐心的陪伴过程当中，你会发现，当安家接受你的时候，那种欢喜，不光是他们欢喜，我们其实也很欢喜。
The volunteer has such a reflection because Mr. Tan rejected help from the volunteers when the volunteers met them the first time. Eventually, the volunteers touched this family with love.
大姐你今天开心吗？这么多人到你屋里来。开心。哎呀，早上。
Mr. Tan's family includes his wife and his daughter. Both of whom have mental disabilities. Therefore, Mr. Tan is the only breadwinner of the family. But he fainted when he was working in the field in September, and it affected the family.
He didn't cultivate that area last year because he wasn't in good health. He only cultivated around 2 acres and ignored the rest.
Mr. Tan is very stubborn. He talks fast and also has a bad temper, so his wife and daughter are afraid of him. However, he is willing to listen to the volunteers' advice.
We really don't need anything from you, but we have a little request from you. Do you know what it is? You must stop smoking. Fang, can you work with me? You must make sure your dad does not smoke at home, and if he smokes, you'll tell me, okay?
The volunteers visit this family regularly. In October, the volunteers took Mr. Tan and his wife on a return trip 800 kilometers to the couple's hometown to apply for a marriage certificate and household registration. This touched Mr. Tan deeply, and he began to accept goods donated by Tzu Chi.
In the past, when people gave him furniture or anything, he would reject it. But in fact, he lacked of those things. He didn't have any furniture at home, but he is now willing to accept the goods from us, so we're very happy.
Before the volunteers leave, they take a photo with Mr. Tan and his wife. From now on, this family has love and also blessings.
45,000 illegal factories on farmland exist in Taiwan. Many fail fire safety inspections as building structures and lack of safety equipment is a ticking time bomb. Also, the higher the density of farmland factories, the higher the frequency of fires. Changhua and Taichung, which rank first and second in this area in Taiwan, and frequently have such fires, as it is clear that more must be done. Here is our in-depth report.
A fire in a rubber factory produced a large amount of dioxin smoke, filling a few kilometers of farmland and houses. No one expected that a fire on a factory on farmland would occur 3 months later. Another scene of smoke rising into the sky has a high concentration of dioxin dust, but this time the fire is not in Taichung but on Changhua farmland.
Dioxin dust can mix with the rain and slowly accumulate in the soil. Those things are very small and the dioxin dust is very toxic. 1 gram of dioxin equals the toxicity of almost 4,000 grams of arsenic.
The pollution of the rubber processing plant where the fire occurred continuously leaches heavy metal wastewater and scrap on this nearby hectare of farmland. This factory on farmland is a source of this wastewater, with even snails which grow easily have no chance to survive.
Industrial waste itself is a toxic substance, so this part also caused this good farmland to unexpectedly become too polluted.
Fires on farmland factories have been taking place one after another, with one connecting factor such as surrounding roads being too narrow and fire hydrants obviously insufficient.
According to General Building Code, you need fire safety equipment, but illegal construction has no such fire safety equipment.
The farmland factories total some 14,000 hectares across Taiwan. Changhua itself has more than 2,300 hectares, ranking first. Taichung has more than 2,100 hectares, ranking second. These two counties account for 32% of illegal farmland factories in Taiwan. Experts believe that the higher the density of farmland factories makes a fire more likely. These illegal factories on agricultural land in Taichung do not have a solid structure of reinforced concrete, as they easily collapse under the high temperature of fire. This took away the lives of 2 firefighters.
These tall sheet metal factories can accumulate a lot of carbon monoxide. It does not require external oxygen to supply the fire, so it is a free-for fire that can go continuously burning.
These illegal factories often fail to comply with fire protection regulations, which leads to an increase in the risk of firefighting. Construction on agricultural land is much cheaper than construction in industrial areas.
The price of agricultural land and industrial land differs by 10 times. And then one goes for temporary factory registration. This costs about 1,700 to 2,000 US a year, so it is worthwhile.
The location of this reporter is farmland in Senggang district of Taichung City. Here you can see a lot of billboards for selling farmland. A factory sells for about $2,000 per 3 square meters, which is more than 3 times that of average farmland. So many people think they are lucky to purchase cheap farmland and build a factory. Land prices from low to high are in the order: agricultural land, industrial, construction, and commercial land. If you buy agricultural land and use it illegally, businesses can save a lot of money on land purchase.
This problem involves too many mysteries, but mixing them together, the root of the problem is that such a land use should not happen.
The government agencies involved in overseeing illegal factories, including the Ministry of Economic Affairs, the Council of Agriculture, and the Environmental Protection Agency. However, if the construction of factories on agricultural land was illegal, the Ministry of the Interior must dismantle the illegal constructions according to law.
The number of new construction in Taiwan every year is probably about 4,000 to 6,000 new buildings.
On May 20th, 2016, new buildings on this agricultural land, and the government adopted a policy of immediate demolition. Behind me, this farmland factory was newly built this year and half demolished, and there is construction waste behind me, such as these metal bars.
This is the factory we reported as being unauthorized. We asked them to remove it, and after it was demolished, it is now back again. We can see that around here, there have been 3 built and 3 demolished.
The government have been talking about instant reporting, but we have seen that there is no immediate report and the company seems to be still building.
The decree is set by the central government, but in terms of land use, the execution is actually the local government. I'm not that optimistic about the determination between these two difficult government groups.
The COA is in charge of this area, with irrigation channels with the MOEA and the EPA are responsible for factories and this farmland. So when we stack these 3 different maps, we can track the source of the pollution.
Industrial waste discarded in agricultural land violates the waste cleanup law. Once a local water source is polluted, it's a violation of water pollution prevention law. To impose a second penalty, polluting the farmland, is the land pollution law. The law says that violators need to give back illegal gains and also bear land remediation costs.
Usually, this amount need to restore the soil to the original condition is many thousands or 10,000s that are fines.
Returning polluted farmland to original condition is not so easy, as I basically believe that it will never return to what it once was.
We're living closer to contaminated land as industry has polluted our farmland, and there may come a time when it is impossible to return to our original way of life.
76 students and parents from the Malaysia Tzu Chi kindergarten came back to their spiritual hometown and visited DaAi TV station. Take a look and see you next time.